As a lot of you know, I've been playing a lot of CyberPunk, and I'm a big fan of a lot of the guns and stuff that are used in that game, so I figured I would turn a blaster into one. This right here is the Militech Crusher. Now, I know this is a shotgun, but I found a beautiful Thingiverse file that converts this thing into the Crusher. This is a Stryfe in here. I figured because it's not a shotgun, I might as well throw a full auto kit in here. I feel like with a full auto kit, we can throw a ton of darts at a target and it kind of feels like a shotgun. Let's go ahead and jump into this build log. I'm going to show you how I installed this worker full auto kit and the tweaks I made to make it work for me. So let's jump right into it. I really like how this turned out. This blaster is not identical to the one in the game, but it definitely has the Crusher feel. I think there's a few things that the Stryfe body just doesn't really offer for a good transition over to a Crusher. Number one, obviously it's not a shotgun. And two, this entire section up here, this whole section, just isn't on the Crusher. I'll go ahead and post a picture of the Crusher and you can see what I'm talking about. But that's all fine because this definitely turned out really good. I mean, I still like how it looks. Now this magazine you see here is an actual worker mag that I found at Goodwill. It's a 12 dart capacity mag that I found at a thrift store for worker, and I was really excited to find it. And it just really goes with this build perfectly. On this side it even has a window so you can see your darts. Up here I just have one of my basic standard hollow sights, which I was just trying to showcase. This thing does have Picatinny. Normally I don't recall seeing Picatinny on this blaster in the game, but still, I think it looks really nice. I did leave the jam door off so that I could actually get in there and reach my fingers to unjam darts if it were to happen. I've shot at least 10 clips through this and have not seen any issues with it, so I don't think I'm gonna have problems. All right, before I button this thing up, I just wanted to kind of go over all the parts here. This part obviously is the 3D printed Crusher barrel from Thingiverse. The kit also includes a back portion that goes on there, some Picatinny, and I think that's it. This right here is an expanded battery door that I kind of had to fabricate myself. I actually cut the old Stryfe door and then I put a 3D printed part on top of it, and then I actually had to putty all the cracks and sand it up. So it's kind of a custom job. I think you can find these now and print them or buy them off Etsy. This right here is a really nice pistol grip part that I will put a link in the description, but it really makes a nice good grip feel there. The Picatinny, just your standard Picatinny, and I'm not too sure how I'm going to work the door jam. I might leave it out, that way we can actually clear jams, because with this on it's just going to hit the Picatinny. So that's still kind of undecided, or I just might leave it all closed up and then have to fish out any darts by pulling out the mag and kind of reaching up in there. So it all depends on how it looks, really. I mean, if it looks fine like this, then I'll probably keep it like that. So this kit in here is a rapid fire kit. It came with some various other components. You got a MOSFET, a little board with a potentiometer in there. I think it either you can adjust rate of fire or just FPS. I'm not sure exactly, but I ended up leaving this out because, and I will be using that in a future project, because I ended up changing out all these switches for the 10 amp switch, so they can basically handle the 3S load. And I also swapped out this motor here. This motor right here is this overvolted Michel. And then these are Krakens with some standard worker wheels. The cage here is a open flywheel project cage that I just printed off from Thingiverse. And I don't remember the crush. I think I didn't really have a lot of options on the crush, so it's probably whatever they had available. I'll go ahead and post a link. But let's go ahead and demonstrate how this works. So everything seems to be in order. So now let's talk about the actual circuit. So we'll go ahead and start with the negative circuit because it's usually the easiest. Now the negative comes off. Obviously we do our standard method of testing the direction of the motors and make sure this is all flowing the right way. But we have our negative lead comes down, runs over here, tags the pusher motor, and then from the pusher motor, it's going to run over to the normally open right here on the pusher motor switch. Now the pusher motor switch, that negative circuit tags onto there and then out to the XD60 connection. So it's pretty easy. It's just touching the two motors here, the pusher motor, tagging the pusher motor switch, and then back to XD60. So pretty simple on the negative circuit. Now we do have a couple, which I'll call the variable circuits, which I did in white. And so the variable circuit, and it's variable because it can be positive or negative to assist with the motor braking of the pusher motor. So the variable circuit for that will be this white wire that comes off the pusher motor that runs down to the fire switch here, and that comes into COM. So basically, pusher motor, variable wire runs down to COM on the fire trigger. Now on the fire trigger, under normally closed, the normally closed then runs up to the pusher switch under COM. And so that's what I call the variable circuit, variable voltage circuit. So that's the white cables. And now for the more complex circuit is the positive. Now positive, I'm just going to start the flywheels. I mean, or we could start the battery. I like starting over here just because we work that way. So we have positive comes off the flywheels and then runs down to, all the way down to the rev. Now, this is just your standard type of Stryfe, how you normally rev up your flywheels on a Stryfe with a single fire. So basically you have your normally open and your COM. In this case, we are going to COM for positive, which is also running to our fire switch under normally open. And then from normally open, we're also tagging our normally closed on the pusher switch. And so that's that path. And then the other path that we're taking, if we go back, so that's normally open down here, and normally open is then going to the battery. So that just comes back up through here and then out here. So basically we are controlling the flow right off this rev switch to power up the flywheels. And the rest of this does not work. Well, we have a mechanical lock here. I believe it's electrical as well, but essentially we can't do anything. At least I don't think so. Let's try. Yeah. So yeah, we do have an electronic lock. So nothing can happen without rev. Those Krakens really scream. Well, that's pretty much how the wiring goes. It gets a little bit tight in here. These printed parts that Worker gave with this kit are really nice. The way they fit in here and hold the switch. They're like switch mounting plates. There's one right here. There's a little minimal amount of cutting in there. They have an instruction booklet that shows you where to make your cuts and whatnot, but it's pretty straightforward. I opted to take out the MOSFET and all this other stuff just because you're supposed to fit them in here, and it was just adding more complexity. It's really tight in here already. I've seen these kits that include ammo counters and voltage count meters and all this stuff. I'm really having a hard time seeing where all that fits. I know you can fit your voltage meter like here. It just gets really tight in this blaster. I'd almost just recommend opting for a swordfish shell. The Workers, it's basically the Workers Stryfe shell, because that thing has a little bit extra room in there to work. So I think if I were to do a full build with everything, with select fire and maybe even ammo counting or all that stuff, I'd probably opt for like a larger shell. something like the Swordfish, which I believe the overall profile is the same. It's just they're going to be it's a little bit more boxy up here instead of all the weird Stryfe aesthetics up here, all this weirdness. It's just more boxy. And I think back here, they give you more room back here to work. But I'm gonna go ahead and button this thing up and we are going to take a look at it. So the first thing I did is get some chronograph numbers, and man, this thing hits hot. For a full auto solution and the rate of fire that this has, I'm gonna go ahead and show footage of me unloading an 18 round clip and just showing how fast it can dump the clip. Also in there, you can see its FPS is really good. I mean, it was a bullet's called around 130, 140 FPS. For a full auto, very precise blaster, and I did do a little bit of shooting. I didn't record it, but it is pretty accurate. Well, the thing is, it's unleashing a barrage of darts, so you know, you could probably even hit stuff at 50 feet pretty well. One thing I really like about this kit is you're able to take everything off and break it down to the basic Stryfe. I did have to modify this piece right here on the bottom so that the Stryfe insert's not going to work the same as it used to if I wanted to bring this back to a standard Stryfe. But I did my best to clean it up with putty, and it actually looks pretty seamless in the front, so I think it would be fine. I also have this end cap here on the pistol grip. I'm a big fan of this. I'll put a link in the description, but this really makes a seamless pistol grip. So in the end, can I recommend this? I definitely can recommend the worker drop-in kit that they have. I think it was, for the most part, pretty easy to install. Like I said, I did deviate from it a bit. If that kit is a little bit overwhelming, there's a lot going on in it, I'd probably just replace out the switches with 10 amp switches and get rid of the MOSFET solution in there. You do lose a little bit of functionality, but it's fine. It just makes this not as bad. It just turns it into just a standard rapid strike wire job, which isn't too bad. Well, I'm DrFlux. That pretty much wraps up this video and build log of the Militech Crusher from CyberPunk. Let me know in the comment section. Do you think this turned out okay? I think it turned out pretty good. Let me know also, do you want to see more Cyberpunk type blasters being made? Because I do have a couple more I'm thinking about making. Well, I want to thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you would like to see this channel grow even further, I encourage you to just share the video. So if you have a friend or someone who likes Cyberpunk, or even a friend that likes Nerf, just share the video. I want to thank you again for watching, and as always, happy foam flinging.